And welcome back, everybody, to another DoDcast Postgame show. I'm your host, co-editor Ricky Keeler, and joining me tonight is somebody who you saw on the show a couple nights ago, and he was so good we wanted to have him back on again. Chris Lacey is here, one of our writers. Chris, how you doing?
Good, Ricky. Thanks again for having me on the show.
Happy to have you. So the Nationals get the win tonight, 4-2 over the Philadelphia Phillies. First game of a three-game set. Nats are now 20-9 on the season, which is amazing. And 11-3 on the road, which might even be even more amazing, considering it's tough to win on the road in baseball. So before we dissect Stephen Strasburg, Ryan Zimmerman, the bullpen, Matt Albers gets save number 1 of his career, which is incredible. Chris, let's first get your initial take on this game before we break down some of the particulars.
I thought the game was good. National offense is still kind of struggling to score runs, but the lineup is doing just good enough. The starting pitching is still solid, even though Strasburg threw a lot of pitches for our start in May. So I think the game for the Nationals went according to plan, even though Dusty probably should have taken out Strasburg probably to begin the sixth inning when it appeared like he was getting a cramp on the mound.
And we'll, of course, await more word on Dusty Baker. We're watching Twitter. Ron, I'm sure, is around watching Twitter, so he's going to let us know. We also need to know who Saturday starter officially is, so we'll keep that in mind for you. You can follow along with us in a lot of different ways. You can tweet us on Twitter at District on Deck. Tweet me at Rickinator555. You can also send a question into the YouTube chat here that we have going on. So if you have a thought or a question, always feel free to share with us. We'll always take it from you if it's within reason. So let's take a look at the line score first. Nats go 4 runs, 12 hits, no errors. Phillies 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Phillies dropped to 12 and 16. It's actually pretty good considering I think people thought they were going to be really bad, and they've been pretty competitive, I think, in the first 30-odd games of the season. Let's start with Stephen Strasburg. Let's start with the good things. First off, Stephen Strasburg hit a home run tonight. 404 feet, crushed it to right center, or left center. He didn't just clear the wall. He flat out crushed the ball.
No, that ball went a long way. So Strasburg does not swing like a pitcher. He kind of swings like a Giants pitcher, Madison Bumgarner. Great power.
Second home run of his career, first since 2012. So definitely not used to seeing that from him, but always that's a good sign. You can help yourself out and hit a home run, you'll take it. His line looks a lot uglier than I think how he pitched. 5 2/3, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, 4 walks. Gets his third win of the season. Now goes to 3-1, 2.66 ERA. And I think, Chris, we'll start with the good things in this outing. He got 3 ground ball outs early, but he had 5 ground outs in total, which, again, you're used to now seeing Strasburg's ground outs go up because he's not focusing on the strikeouts as much. Yeah. But I thought overall, and FP and Bob were talking about in the Mass and Telecast, he's doing a good job just limiting his pitches and not getting into a lot of long battles. And I think you saw 90 pitches through 5 innings, and it was a surprise to even see that much.
Yeah, Strasburg has been very economical this season, as you already said. And I think the most important part of this start was the 0 in the runs and earned run column. He kept the Phillies off the scoreboard while he was on the mound, and he gave the bullpen not a great chance to actually blow the lead, which almost happened with Trinan. So,
fourth inning was really the only tough part for him. He had the Michael Franco infield hit, which was a really tough ball to field. Michael Saunders then hits a double, which Michael Taylor takes a weird route on, and he goes off his glove, and Taylor's usually a great defender, so that was a surprise. He gets Cameron Rupp swinging, which practically every Nationals hitter did tonight, pretty much. Pitcher did tonight. Gets to walk Freddie Galvis, which surprisingly the Nats, they walk an 8-hitter with the pitcher on deck. They don't normally do that. They actually did that today. And Nick Pivetta ends up striking out. Nice debut, though. Not debut, second start for the former Nats prospect. So we'll get into that more in a little bit. But the 6th inning course is where we want to get into. And that's really the big story, I think, from this baseball game. Strasburg, again, starts at 90 pitches, gets the line out on Joseph. Michael Saunders hits a ball off of Strasburg, and maybe who knows if that played a factor. It was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that came right back at him. He did knock it down, got the infield hit, and then right in that battle with Cameron Rupp, I think at that point he's at about 102 pitches when that bat starts, and he's got it's something with the leg or the calf, and he keeps shaking people off like, no, don't come and see me, I'm fine. And he's trying, and I get that. Stephen Strasburg's a guy that I think cares about wanting to tough things out because he's known for his injury history. It's just the way it is. But at some point, and I think Dusty did a bad job at this, the minute you see him shaking that leg out, I need to have somebody up in the bullpen. He waited about a whole couple batters before Blake Trinan got up, and I think the Nats, to be honest, got lucky that Rupp and Galvis had so long at bats, but by then Strasburg's had 119 pitches. That's just I know you want to win every game, and Dusty manages most of the time to win every game. You can't be doing that in May and risking your pitcher's health like that.
No, especially given Strasburg's injury history. I thought when the ball came off of him, even though Strasburg shrugged off the trainers, I still think Dusty probably should have still sent out a trainer and maybe have Strasburg throw a couple of warm pitches to see how his leg feels. So I think the Nats dodged a major bullet by not having Strasburg possibly going on the DL if the inning had lasted any longer.
Put it this way. Normally in a week where your starters throw once per week, 119 pitches usually is a high for a pitcher. You got Tanner Roark throwing 125 a couple days ago. You had Gio throwing 100 and near 110. I mean, at some point, and you and I talked about this before the show started, I can't blame Dusty when Dusty has no choice because the bullpen's, with the exception of tonight, which we'll get into, the last couple of guys, Blake Trinan again gives up a couple of runs. Yeah. What choice does Dusty have if he wants to win? Because Trinan and Blanton aren't doing anything right now.
That's true. And also the thing is you can't be using Romero and Alvarez every day when you need to try and win games. Someone else in the pen has to step up. So either whether that be Trinan, whether that be Perez, whether that be when Glover comes back, someone's got to carry the load because you can't rely on Romero and Alvarez every day because eventually they're going to get burnt out.
The Judo Joker chimes in on YouTube. Something that may be going a bit unappreciated. The Nat Stars are hitting very well. Gio and Max back-to-back multi-hit games. Consecutive multi-hit games. Max had an RBI and Stras's home run. So pitcher's doing a good job. But he also brings up a good question. Should Blake Trinan be demoted? Giving up runs every relief appearance simply unacceptable in the majors. I've been tracking this when I do the games. Yeah. He's at a run allowed in 8 out of 15 outings.
Wow. So that's like almost half.
Exactly. So we're getting to a point, but here's Judo Joker, and I think it's a great question, something I've asked and something Ron and I have thrown out there off these DoDcasts when we're not doing them. Mm-hmm. What options do the Nationals have? Because now you got the Shawn Kelley news. He's on the disabled list with a lower back strain. Matt Grace is called up. Luckily, Syracuse is playing Scranton, so it's not a far drive for Matt Grace to get over to Philadelphia. But now you have Solis hurt. Coda Glover is going to come back, you hope, this weekend at some point. So you have him in the mix. But who do you want to call up in AAA? Trevor Gott's not been good. Rafael Martin maybe, but even then that's a stretch. Austin Adams is striking out a lot of guys, but he's walking a lot of guys. And we like Austin Adams. He was on the DoDcast. We like him a lot. We would love him to make his Major League debut here. But Joe Nathan has a bad ERA in AAA. So
he's not option.
No, but I mean, I know John Heyman said he can throw 94, and that's great, and I love hearing that. But at some point, until there's a better I would trust the Nationals that if there was a better option, Blake Trinan would not be here right now. But I don't think there is right now.
No, there is, and unless Mike Rizzo is willing to pull an early deal to possibly either get Kelvin Herrera or maybe someone from the Twins like Brandon Kinsler, I think Dusty is stuck with basically who he's got.
Highest pitch count, Ron points out, since 2012 for Strasburg. I think he threw 119 in that one as well. But out of 119 pitches, he did have 73 strikes. Not a bad number. I think it's actually a pretty good number. And what we talked about, it's just he was able to – you never felt he was in any trouble besides that fourth inning. That's a good sign. No. So I would give Strasburg a positive grade here. I think he did a lot and give him credit for battling and getting those outs. I know we throw out the word gritty a lot this week, and I wouldn't call Tanner Roark start gritty the other day. I thought that 12 full counts, you kind of shouldn't be doing that. That's not gritty to me. But Strasburg I'd call gritty because you're battling through a calf, and somebody better stop him and say, listen, dude, it's May. We need you. They've had a lot of injuries. Bryce Harper was out tonight with the groin. So they need him to be healthy, and I think that's got to be the bigger message, although this team just keeps winning. So they get the 3 in a row. Offensively against Nick Pivetta, Another good night for the offense. Now, they left a lot of men on base, 11 in total, 2 for 8 with men in scoring position. But you also have to consider a lot of those at-bats, Michael Taylor and Chris Heisey were up. Not the guys you kind of want up in that situation, but another great night for Ryan Zimmerman. 3 for 5, another home run, back-to-back home runs, or as Ron calls them, back-to-back kabooms in the 5th inning. Zimmerman now according to the Nats PR, the all-time extra base hit leader in Expos Nats history, passing Tim Wallach. He's now batting .433. I think I saw somebody tweeted this out. I retweeted on the District on Deck. I'll try to get it so I give them credit. He has to go 0 for his next 9 to finish below 400, to have a below 400 average.
That's not going to happen.
That is pretty remarkable that you can get to that point and have that kind of low batting average. But again, just Chris, another great night for Ryan Zimmerman. And it feels like we're saying that every night. Yeah,
we are. Zimmerman is on a roll. He's hitting the ball well. He's seeing the ball extremely great. He's hitting the ball to all fields. And right now, I would consider Ryan Zimmerman to be the early favorite for NL MVP.
And it's at the Ace of Spader who said that, so props to him for that one. But yeah, I think you really have a case where you can be the comeback player of the year and the MVP. Now, way too early for MVP, but I would say early favorite for comeback player of the year because he's having an excellent season. Anthony Rendon, another strong night tonight at the plate. He got the rally scoring started. RBI single in the 1st inning. Then he had the solo home run in the 4th, 3 for 4 tonight. I think he's got 12 hits in his last 5 games. Now 6 of them came in 1 game, but another RBI. So you can have a case now where Rendon's making the case to win Player of the Week after Zim just won Player of the Week.
True. Yeah, Rendon's in the ball very well. He's seeing the ball just the same as Zimmerman. They're each having on quality at bats, and the good thing about both of them staying hot is that Dusty, if he wants, could possibly rest Harper for the rest of this series and then for the upcoming series on Monday against the Orioles.
You also have the DH, I think, Monday and Tuesday, so that would, I think, Harper could play, not play in the field if that was an option. But the rare thing when you look at the line for Rendon, he had, I don't know if they count, and I guess they don't count the intentional walks as pitches anymore, but in five at bats, 14 pitches. Normally you see Rendon take a lot of pitches, so it's kind of good to see him be aggressive, attack the zone, and get some good pitches to hit. Ron also putting bad news for Zach Britton. He had an MRI, scheduled another MRI, so
that's not good.
That's the next opponent. The Orioles had Wade Miley take 2 line drives knocked off him tonight, so he had to leave the game in the 1st inning after Kevin Gausman was ejected 2 days ago. So just a bad week for the Orioles, and we'll talk more about them Monday when we get to that. But again, good night for Zimmerman, good night for Rendon. Michael Taylor, 4 strikeouts. Not what you want to see. Jason Worth, 3 hit nights. I want to throw those positives in there. I want to talk about Taylor. He got a nice double in this ball game against Pivetta, but at some point, Chris, and I'm watching this. Every pitching coach has to think 2 strikes, throw an off-speed pitch in the dirt, and Taylor's going to chase it. If I'm Rick Shue or I'm Dusty Baker, I'm telling him, I'd rather you take strike 3 than constantly swing at off-speed pitches out of the zone with 2 strikes.
Yeah, Taylor's got to change his approach when he gets 2 strikes. It's very simple. Yeah, you have to take a defensive swing and try to at least put the ball in play and then make the defense throw you out. So him swinging at off-speed pitches is not good because other teams are going to pick up on that pattern and continue throwing off-speed pitches when the pitchers are ahead in the count. So Taylor has to change his approach at the plate.
Absolutely. So we touched on the positives, at least from the offense. Let's talk about the bullpen. We talked about Blake Trinan, so we won't harp on Trinan much anymore. Eddie Romero comes in, 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, strikes out Michael Saunders, then starts the 8th inning, strikes out Rupp. Again, everybody's striking out Cameron Rupp. And strikes out Freddie Galvis with I think both were 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. Might have been 99 on Galvis. I'm not entirely sure. But Romero comes in, gets the 2 strikeouts in the 8th. Daniel Nava grounds out, partially because I think he's just swinging because he took a 100-mile-an-hour pitch off the foot. That's not what you want. You're looking to end that at bat immediately after that. Yeah. But Romero, last couple of days, we saw him throw 101, and I saw a quote today from one of the beat writers, Dusty thinks there's a little bit of Aroldis Chapman in him.
There is. I mean, Romero has strikeout stuff. It's just can he throw strikes consistently and not walk any batters? If he can, the Nats might have a mini version of Chapman.
Yeah, I'm not so quick to say I need to see it more consistent from Romero before I go to Chapman territory. But when I see a guy throwing 101 miles an hour, it is really tough for me not to throw that out there, because he's a guy that just – to me, I get nervous, though, when he throws the ball all the way up in the zone. It's about to hit the backstop.
Yeah, that's not good.
What FP talks about on Masson, just he has to get his control. Don't worry, as long as his control's back. I don't know if his control's coming back after he throws the ball to the backstop. That's the only problem. But I'm sure he won't be available tomorrow. But because he shouldn't be, no. When Dusty uses him, he uses him like 15, 20 pitches a night. So I think that's going to be the real big issue, at least for tomorrow, is where's Romero at? And it was Jorge Castillo of the Washington Post who had that. So good quote by him, by Dusty at least. So how about Matt Albers? It wasn't easy for Matt Albers. Throw that out there. But he just comes in, throws strikes. 20 pitches, 12 strikes, strikes out 2 guys after hitting Cesar Hernandez, who continues to be a pest for the Nats. 1 hit and a strikeout tonight for Hernandez. But just the way Albers was, he was dialing back to 95. He was throwing the ball down in the zone. And in 9 games for the Nationals, he has not allowed a run yet. I would never have thought that on May 5th we'd be sitting here and talk about Matt Albers not only saving a game, but being probably, I would say, the most reliable reliever in the bullpen right now.
I think it's between him and possibly Jacob Turner. But you're right, Albers has been throwing the ball great. And the thing about Albers is he just throws strikes, which is something not many of the other relievers in the Nationals pen can say. I mean, he just throws strikes and challenges hitters to put it in play.
Ron said from a quote from Matt Albers, glad it's done. It's just 1. Don't think it's moving me up the charts much. You never know, Matt. You never know. Judo says, I think Judo Joker said the BP bullpen did a very good job aside from Trinan. I would agree. Jorge Castillo had the quote from Dusty, which might make the May quotes of the month for Dusty Baker. Talk about Strasburg's left calf was cramping, which Dusty said. Mark Zuckerman tweeted out from Masson. Quote, he's the worst sweater I've ever seen. We are at May 5th, people. Write it down. Thank you to all who read the April quotes of the month. This might be the favorite with 26 days left in the month of May. So when you see the countdown in June of Dusty's quotes of the month, the Strasburg sweater one might be number 1.
That's funny. I like that.
But at least he's okay. So at least that's a good sign. But all in all, I think I wouldn't go with Turner just yet, because I don't know what his role is right now. To me, the guy outside of Albers is Oliver Perez.
True. And
who knows if there's a save chance tomorrow that Oliver Perez doesn't get a crack.
True. That's right. Yeah.
Because I think he's gone out there and thrown it. I think it's 8 in a row. I think he's only given up running like 1 or 2 outings this year. So he's for the guy that everybody wanted out of town and want him to cut the $4 million out of. He's pitched well. Let me look at. I want to touch on Nick Pivetta here.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the Phillies thing with Papelbon, the trade from a couple years ago, I would argue that the Nationals had to make that deal at the time because Craig Kimbrell wasn't coming here, Aroldis Chapman wasn't coming here, and nobody trusted Drew Storen to get a save in the postseason. Let's be honest. As great as Storen was, you had to make a deal. At the time, I liked it. I don't like it now, but I have to be honest that I liked it when it happened. But Pivetta tonight, I thought if he can get his breaking ball over for strikes, he can throw 97, 98 and be very productive. Outside of that 5th inning where he made the mistakes as Zimmerman Rendon, he did and he got out of the 1st inning with bases loaded. I thought he did a pretty nice job.
Yeah, Pivetta actually had a very good start. He went 5 innings. He gave a lot of hits, but outside of that one big inning, as you said, I think Pivetta threw the ball very well. And if he can command his breaking stuff along with that high 90s fastball, I think Pivetta can be a very good pitcher for the Phillies in a couple of years. they're going to have a very good young rotation over the next several seasons.
The Geo Joker has the good one. How unstoppable would the Nats be if they somehow got a hold of Craig Kimbrell? It's impossible. It won't happen. But that would if they had Craig Kimbrell, this would be the Cubs. This would be the Cubs from last year with Craig Kimbrell, with the offense, with the rotation, with everything.
Yeah.
They would win 100 plus games. That's how good this team is. I mean, if you can go 20-9 with a bullpen full of, as the FP called it, bale wire and duct tape. I mean, it's pretty amazing what Dusty and this team has done through almost 30 games. I would say that for a fact. The big injury news of the day, of course, Shawn Kelley on the DL with the back strain. He was sick a couple of days ago. Then you find out 10 minutes before the game, oh yeah, they just throw out there Shawn Kelley's on the DL with a back strain. This is big news because Shawn is retroactive to May 2nd, so who knows? Maybe it's only a week that Shawn Kelley's out, and that's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
But if it goes past a week or two, we're talking about a guy that's had arm problems. And Kelley, to me, this year has not looked right. He gives up a lot of home runs, and I did that last year. He's a very streaky reliever, but this bullpen needs a veteran presence in it. And Shawn Kelley kind of brought that to the table. So I think they would miss that if it's an extended period of time.
Yeah, they would really miss his presence. Also, Dusty would probably have to go with a closer by committee if Kelley is out any longer than the 10-day DL, which is something I know Dusty does not want to do, but he might have to.
All right. So while we wait, I'm not sure if Dusty has announced the starter yet. I know yesterday he said likely AJ Cole. So I will wait until it's official that it's AJ Cole. If that does happen, I'm sure Ron will let me know if that does happen. So let's look around the National League East. The Mets, what a comeback by the Mets tonight. They were down 7-1. Yep, 7-1, bottom of the fourth inning, and they rallied back for an 8-7 win. Good credit for them because they were left stranded in Atlanta last night for 2.5 hours before the game got called in the fourth inning. The game they were winning, so they didn't get a chance to get that win. But TJ Rivera continues to be great for them at first base. 3 RBIs. He had another home run, his first of the season off Tom Kohler, who struggled. So a bad loss for the Marlins, who dropped to 12-16. Mets are now 13-15. Rafael Montero got the start tonight instead, of course, of Noah Syndergaard. And in Atlanta, the Cardinals shut out the Braves 10-0. Cardinals get 16 hits in this one. 3 RBIs for Aledmus Diaz. Matt Carpenter hit a home run. His 5th of the season. Lance Lynn throws 6 shutout innings. Mike Fulton-Ewitz, 7 runs in 4 innings. He takes the loss. Braves go to 11-16 on the campaign. Here's a good question. Shannon NYR. Thank you, Shannon. I know the team said Glover and Kelley, but so many relievers have closed off games recently. Are Nats better off not naming an official closer? Chris, I'll let you chime in before I chime in on this one.
I don't think they're good not naming the closer because I think it's good for a reliever knowing that he's going to be the closer, so he can actually be prepared on a game and that when the Nats have a lead after 8, he's going to warm up and then he knows he's going to come in and to get those 3 outs for the 9th inning. So I think it's important for them to name a closer, but I'm just not sure who would Dusty trust to actually get those 3 outs in the 9th inning.
And here's the thing, Shannon. It's good to see all these relievers doing a good job with the chances that they're getting. But at some point, and it's the issue I think that we've talked about in the DoDcast for the first month or so, it's not about who can be the closer. To be honest, I don't think we've had enough chances of any of these guys, Glover, Kelley, etc., because this team wins by so much. There's never really a save chance. I mean, this week was like the first chances at saves since the first Mets series at Citi Field. I mean, that's how great this offense has been playing. So I want to see guys establish roles. Like I want to see a guy like Albers I can trust in the 8th inning, or a guy that I can trust like Trinan. I would love to see him be confident in the middle innings. When each reliever has a routine, okay, I know I'm pitching today in the 8th inning, or I know I'm pitching today in the 9th inning. I know when to get up. I know when to get ready to go, when to start my stretching, all that stuff. Because now it seemed like April Dusty was trying different combinations and seeing what sticks, and we're kind of still at that point now. But I do see your point, and a lot of these guys, and Romero's done great, and Albers has done great getting saves. Jacob Turner got the win 4 innings the other night, and that was great to watch. But that's out of necessity, at least with Turner, because nobody was able to pitch. So I want to see guys establish roles. It's good that they're pitching well, but let's see the roles get formed, and then you'll see how good or bad this bullpen can be. But definitely good question, Shannon. We want to thank you for sending that in. Let's look around the minor leagues while we wait. We'll get Dusty a little bit before we decide to starter, and then we'll look at tomorrow's pitching matchup. AAA Syracuse loses tonight to Scranton 10-2. Only 4 hits for the Chiefs. Andrew Stevenson had 1. Brian Goodwin an RBI double, his 10th RBI of the season. Rough night for Kyle McGowan. Gave up 6 runs in 3 2/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. Every Chief reliever gave up a run. So back to our point about the Syracuse bullpen. Not as much right now that that you want to call somebody up. I don't think they're performing that well right now. Double-A Harrisburg, a 2-1 win over Hartford. Natali Soto Mario Lisson, with a home run, his 2nd of the season. And how about Jaron Long? I tweeted this out during the game, and it's worth noting. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Gets his 3rd win of the season. He's given up 3 runs or fewer in all 6 starts down in Double-A. And
nice.
Keep in mind, if the name is familiar, he is the son of now Met hitting coach Kevin Long.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So a good name to keep an eye on. He's not a top prospect, but 2.02 ERA in your first 6 games of the season, definitely something worth mentioning. And he threw, I think, 59 of 81 pitches per strike, so not a bad number there. Wander Suero got the save. Senators are now 12-14. Potomac loses tonight to Lynchburg 6-2. Joan Baez, the loss, 0-4 on the season with a 6.65. Gave up 1 earned run in 5 1/3, but did have a good outing. Rhett Weissman, a home run, his 3rd of the season. An RBI for Taylor Goshu. He's up to 22 on the season, hitting .314. So the Potomac catcher doing a nice job. They are at 14-12. And Hagerstown rained out against Hickory. They're going to play a game tomorrow and then a doubleheader on Sunday. Suns are 17-10. And I'll be talking with Carter Keyboom tomorrow morning. So you could look out for that interview on Monday on districtondeck.com. So let's look at tomorrow. And we're going to throw out the assumption. And if you're reading this in Ron's reaction, it's changes. We apologize, but this is all we have to go off of. AJ Cole, we're going to throw in as the starter. He's going to go up against Vince Velasquez for the Phillies. Velasquez 2-2 with a 5.47 ERA. So, Chris, early impressions on this matchup.
I think the important thing for Cole is to throw strikes, don't walk anybody, and then just keep the Nationals in the game, because I think the Nationals offense is going to continue doing what they've been doing throughout the first month of the season, and that's get the lead early and then get to the opponent's bullpen. So I think Cole, if he does that, the Nationals have a good chance of picking up the series victory tomorrow.
Velasquez is the guy that he's going to strike out a lot of batters. Now, he hasn't done that lately. Just 9 combined strikeouts in his last 3 starts. Had 10 in his first outing against the Nats back on April 7th, but Bryce Harper and Daniel Murphy, I believe, hit home runs in him in that game. Velasquez has given up 6 home runs, a home run in every start this year. So the Nationals, at least, they're a team hitting the ball to the park right now. And while Velasquez strikes out a lot, usually he does have 15 walks this year. So we'll hopefully see if Bryce Harper's back in the lineup. We'll see if some of these guys can sort of get the momentum going against Velasquez. So Ron says, this is from Mark Zuckerman again from Madison. Kelley has been sick several days and said his back locked up at him today. Realized he wouldn't be able to pitch for another 3 to 4 days. So if it is just 3 to 4 days and Shawn Kelley comes back next week, you feel good. So I think that's the best news you could get, and hopefully get him back in a routine and see where it goes. So all in all, good things there. I'll say on AJ Cole, I'm not expecting much in this game. And maybe I'm just being really pessimistic. I wrote an article on this the other day. His control problems have not been good in Syracuse. He has thrown, in total, out of all his pitches, 63% for strikes in I think like 4 or 5 games.
Wow.
Not a very high number. So that's a guy right now. I think he's looking to find his confidence. I would take 5 innings from him. Maybe you combine him with Turner in this game. Maybe you use a little bit of Matt Grace in this game. and maybe they piggyback that way. But if you get, like you said, Chris, if they get 5 innings from AJ Cole, and the Nats have a lead after 5, I'll be happy with it. Because Cole did show stuff last year. I mean, first 3 games, he looked really good. I mean, he was beating some good, well, not beating good lineups, but holding his own against good lineups. And the Phillies, while they don't have a great lineup, Hernandez can beat you, Herrera can beat you, Franco can beat you. Saunders, I think, is a nice addition. So this is the Philly squad that you can't take lightly, because you look at these 7 meetings with the Nationals, and they've all been really close.
Yeah, and also I have a question for you. Do you think Turner is even available, considering he threw 4 innings against Arizona earlier this week?
1 to 2 innings, maybe. I'm not sure if you can, let's say, go Cole for 5, Turner for 4. I wouldn't go that route.
Yeah.
If you're going long man, I would think it's Matt Grace. I think that's the reason he's here. I think that he's a guy that has major league experience. So he's a guy, they have a lot of lefties, so they can afford to sort of use one of them as the long man. I think it's Ali, Grace, and Romero, who are the 3 lefties. Romero obviously won't be available, but I would think so. Grace, I think, is your guy. You can throw Turner, I think, if you need him in any situation. Dusty loves to see him pitch. It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's done a pretty good job since being here. But I think they're going to try to piece this one together as best they can. They got the first game in the series, which is good. So to me, I don't like to predict wins and losses here, but we'll see what happens. The Judo Joker chimes in. We'll end with this question. Do you think the Nats bullpen is still suffering from that series in Colorado? I know it's been over almost 2 weeks, but they got used a ton. Chris, what do you think about that one?
No, I mean, I think the offense did good in Colorado, but I don't think the bullpen got overused too much. I just think throughout the season, the bullpen has just not performed well. And as you said, they actually haven't had many chances to actually save games to know how good are these relievers going to be over the course of a long season. So I think as the Nats play more close games and there are more saved chances, we will get a chance to see how good this bullpen really is.
If you're going to the only thing the Judo Joker I would throw out from Colorado is I think they missed Coda Glover. I definitely think that, and I always question. I think it was the second game of that series, and I was on that night doing the post game. Why Coda Glover, if he was feeling anything at all, was pitching in a 10-run game in the 7th inning? I can't figure that one out. I was just as surprised as everybody else, and I think that's the only way they're feeling it right now. I know Kelley obviously was pitching that series, and he's not pitching now. Colorado takes a lot out of you. I think the Nats kind of caught a break, even though Strasburg, it's great that he had a second child, but I think they're kind of happy he didn't pitch in Colorado. I think that plays a factor as well. But I think the bullpen just in total, again, we talked about it with the previous question. They just need to get their roles together. And some of them, like Trinan and Blanton, need their confidence back. I think they've pitched so many bad outings that right now they go in expecting to fail. We heard Dan Coco talk about it when he was talking with Jack Jones, the assistant hitting coach, about confidence, and with Ryan Zimmerman. You can go to the ballpark expecting to succeed, or you can go to the ballpark expecting to fail. And I think in the case of Trinan and Blanton right now, I'm not going to get inside their head, or I'm not trying to, but I think that they're going out there thinking, I'm probably going to give up a run. And then you could see Trinan, they talked about with Mike Maddox and Dusty on the telecast, he's overthinking it. You could tell by his slow pace on the mound.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to thank the Judo Joker, Shan NYR, for your questions. Again, we want to hear your questions all the time. So whether it's me or Ron, feel free to send a question to the chat. We're happy to answer it for you, or send us your comments. Send a comment on the YouTube page if you want your thoughts on the show. You can watch tomorrow's game on Masson, by the way, just regular Masson. Ron's going to be here. He's going to do the tweeting and the DoDcast. I'm back for the DoDcast on Sunday, which is a 2:30 game. Ron will do the tweeting for that. It's Tanner Roark and Jeremy Hellickson. So that's your coverage set up for the next couple of days. Ron's got the reaction tomorrow. I've got a piece going up looking back at the 2008 Nats, which I did during the offseason. I'm bringing that back a little bit. Talk about John Lannon. So Lannon's still in the organization, by the way, trying to be a submarine reliever. So that should be interesting in the minor leagues. So we got that going up. And then we have a couple articles from today. We had Ron do the Phillies preview, so that should be good. I had an article on Matt Albers, so Matt Albers proving me right. Happy about that. So the article still applies. He's been Mr. Reliable, so you can read that. Chris, how can the listeners follow you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at AECanada12. That is at AECanada12.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Rickinator555. Follow us on Twitter at District on Deck. Like us on Facebook. I promise our Facebook page is cool. So head over there and follow us. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you missed any of our DoDcasts. And we try to do them for every game. So if you missed one from a game, feel free to share those there. We have our interviews there. I did one with Ian Sagdahl from Potomac, the first baseman, a couple days ago. That's on the website. So any minor league interviews I do, you're going to find those there as well. So a lot of cool video content we're going to have on that page this season. So a lot going on. So again, to sum up tonight, Stephen Strasburg, not the prettiest stat line, but he got the job done. And Ryan Zimmerman just continues to be Ryan Zimmerman. And back-to-back kabooms. When Strasburg gets a kaboom, you know it's your kind of night. So Nationals get the win 4-2, and they go to 20-9. So for Ron Juckett, for all of our District on Deck team, for Chris Lacey, who's here, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great night, or if you're listening tomorrow morning, a great rest of your day. And Ron will see you back here tomorrow night after AJ Cole and Vince Velasquez.